So I don't know if you're aware of this. Tomorrow, July 30th, is the 50th anniversary of the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh.
Did you know that?
I did not know that, no.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me that you know that.
Oh, I've been on this for a while. It surprises me that there are a lot of Lake Orion residents who aren't aware of the fact that Jimmy Hoffa was a Lake Orion resident. And I remember about 10, 12 years ago, I was doing some research for a story where they were doing a dig at Orion and Adams Road. And I asked the township where Jimmy Hoffa's former home was. And they sent me the address, and I typed it into Google Maps, and the line from where I was sitting to Jimmy Hoffa's house was about that big. And I realized that I could practically walk to that home from where we're sitting. And so I've been following that progress. The house was put up for sale at the end of last year. It didn't sell right away, so they split the property up to include the house and then just the rest of the land. Yeah. And it was bought by these people sitting right here across from me. John and Susan Hagen are joining us now.
Hello.
And you guys you closed on the house in May, correct?
Right.
And what possessed you to reach out and make an offer on Jimmy Hoffa's former house?
That's a great question. I'm semi-retired, I guess. I was finishing up a rehab for my son's house and didn't want to get bored, so we decided let's put an offer and get another project for me to keep me busy.
So did you know that it was formerly Jimmy Hoffa's
I knew
home?
I did know it was listed in the real estate listing as the Hoffa House.
Okay.
So I knew that. At that point, I didn't know he had a house in Lake Orion. So I was kind of clueless to that.
Okay, so you just thought maybe it's a house he visited, or had friends, spent a little time.
No,
so,
originally it was his summer getaway. I did some research, found out through Oakland County that Hoffa bought that house and property in 1947. He's been here a long time. Yeah. And then he bought up all the surrounding property to the point where he owned a good chunk of what's called Avalon Beach on Square Lake. And so when he was released from prison in 1971, he made that his permanent home until the day he disappeared in 1975. His wife Josephine passed away in 1980, I believe it was. And then the Hoffa family sold the house originally to Wayne Daniel Prawl in 1985. And he was in that home for close to 40 years. And what's interesting about that, and you guys could attest to this, is he was a bit of a hoarder. And he inherited many of Jimmy Hoffa's possessions. And they sat there for 40 years. And so his stuff kind of accumulated on top of Jimmy Hoffa's stuff. And so when I got a chance to get inside the house, I think it was back in February, as we're walking through the house, you see Jimmy Hoffa artifacts, brochures and newspapers with headlines and things like that. And apparently the Prawl family, they collected all kinds of stuff and like put it in storage. And there's a photo of Jimmy Hoffa sitting in a chair on the phone in front of a window in the living room. And that chair was there for the longest time. Wow. Now, when you guys came in, a lot of that stuff had been taken out of the home, correct?
Yes.
But you still found some cool stuff. Susan, tell us about some of the cool stuff you found in the home.
Well, he had probably about 6 various different copies of a Who's Who of America book. And I happened to go through one of them, and he had taken a pencil mark and put it right by his name. And then as I brought it home, I flipped through it, and there was a Teamster song. It was written out on that old typewriter type style, and a little faded and stuff, but I didn't even know the Teamsters had a song. So.
When you posted that.
Are you going to sing it for us?
Oh,
that's what I was going to say.
We don't know the words.
When I saw you post the photos on Facebook, I Googled and Googled to see if I can find any sort of recording, any YouTube video, and there doesn't seem to be any recordings of the tune that goes with those
lyrics. The secret
lyrics.
song. It's the secret song.
If the Teamsters want the song so they can produce it, I'd be glad to give them a copy. That's absolutely.
And you also have a story where you found, was it something in the kitchen?
Yeah, we were emptying out the kitchen and we're digging through everything, and I saw this blue box way in the back. It was turned around, it just was blue, and I pulled it out, And I turned it around and it said Crown Royal, and I picked it up and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is full. So I opened it up and it was still sealed and it said 1979, which is obviously after he had after he had disappeared, but I'm sure, hopefully, it might be still the Hoffa families. So.
Yeah, because they were there at least until 1980 and maybe a little bit
85.
after.
80.
They sold it in 85.
85.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
So it was likely the families.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool. Yeah. So since you've been in there, I know you've been documenting your progress in there. Let's talk about some of the things you've accomplished so far since taking over ownership. What have you done to the house?
Mostly throughout the whole house there's knotty pine paneling. Every room but the kitchen and the bathroom. Even the basement has it, walls, ceilings. The carriage house has knotty pine. So I've been taking that down mainly because I have to do some structural stuff, and it has old wiring and just plumbing. So upstairs we've got pretty much gutted, and about half of the first floor is gutted. And I started on the basement a little bit.
Yeah, I saw some photos where you took it down to the studs, basically, right?
We're taking it all the way down the studs because even there's some insulation in the walls, but it's not to today's standards, so it just needs to be redone completely. So there's a lot of demolition work. Mostly it's just getting all that knotty pine off, which is quite tedious. and I'm taking it down where I can save it, save as much as possible.
Right.
And I'll use it in strategic spots and probably use it to totally restore the carriage house.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So close to Allendale, there's that garage, kind of a residential home. Is that the building you're referring to?
So
what you've been inside there, what's that building like? I've never seen it inside.
Well, on the first floor there's room for 2 cars, then a workshop. Then on the second floor is a full 2-bedroom. They're very small bedrooms, but it has a full kitchen, a full bathroom, and a little living space.
Yeah.
I was told sounds like you need to set up a tour of that. I mean, you haven't seen that space yet?
Yeah, I haven't been in there, but I was told by the children of Wayne Daniel Prowl that they lived in that building for at least a little bit of time while the Prowl family.
Yeah, I think when they were first getting married or something.
Yeah,
and then Chucky O'Brien was rumored to have lived there also.
Yeah. Wow, so that's a historical part of the property too.
Yeah.
You know what, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but with the 50th anniversary coming up, Fox 2 News has been doing a series of stories, like lengthy stories on their 10 o'clock newscast. Part 1 talked about Jimmy Hoffa up through his disappearance. Part 2 is the aftermath of the disappearance. And as I'm watching these videos, you see like this pristine, beautiful property. I'm like, where's that? And I'm like, wait a second, that's the Lake Orion home. Have you seen those pictures and footage of what that home looked like in its prime?
We've seen some, and I think I saw a new one on the Fox too, which showed a different view and had a fountain on the property.
Oh, wow.
So one of our goals is to restore it back to that state on the exterior.
Yeah.
Just to get the great grass growing there, because I think Hoffa loved taking care of the lawn.
Yeah.
And he did do it all himself.
Yeah. I mean, the
What did he use for his fertilizer?
The archival film of that property makes it look like a state park or something. That's how pristine it was. And one thing that I'm fascinated with, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this, but there are some photos taken of Hoffa on that property the day he disappeared. There was a free press photographer named Tony Spina who made an appointment to take some pictures of Hoffa that morning, and later that day he vanished. And in one of the photos, Hoffa's kind of got his foot up on a picnic table, and behind him you see a totem pole near the lake. That totem pole is still on the property, and you just had it renovated. Talk about that.
Well, a daughter of one of my friends is an artist, so she offered to renovate it, and she did a beautiful job. She was able to take the colors and computerize a little bit, figure out what to replace it with, so it's the original colors of the statue. She had to reconstruct some of the cement because it was decaying.
Okay.
But she did a beautiful job, and it will stand out on that lake.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
awesome.
when I saw it, I fell in love with it. And, you know, before you guys took ownership, people were saying, well, the home might get demolished. And I'm like, if I hear anyone get a wrecking ball anywhere near that house, I'm going to sneak in the middle of the night,
Chain yourself.
steal the totem pole, put it in my apartment.
I thought you were going to chain yourself to the front door, Joe. Say,
I'm
no.
like, oh, that part. But I'm so glad that you've saved
Yeah.
the totem pole and restored it, and that's going to continue to be part of the property. And from what I heard, do you recall there's a concrete ornamental place on Lapeer Road that you would drive by and there'd be
Yes.
all these
Yeah, on the
concrete
corner
lawn
there,
ornaments.
yeah.
I was told that's where Hoffa bought all of his yard ornaments, and
Okay.
a lot of them are still there today. That ornamental concrete place is gone now. They're building a Skelnick Ford on that property, but it's nice to know that a lot of those pieces came from right here in Lake Orion. And then there's a fire pit, sort of a brick fire pit on the property, and you uncovered that circular concrete patio. Are you going to try to restore that area as like a gathering space?
Yeah, the concrete's in amazingly good shape. It does have some cracks, and it's not perfect, but I think it's good enough to save, especially for the historical significance. The fireplace it's cracked apart a bit, enough that I'm going to actually take it completely apart. All the pieces are still there. Some are falling off, but all the pieces are there. So I'll take pictures, and so I know exactly where each stone goes and rebuild it back to its former glory, because it is a huge feature of the property.
It
I've seen
is,
a lot of pictures.
And you see it in a lot of the archival film that I've seen over the past week
Yep.
or so. So yeah, you wouldn't want to just demolish that.
No.
It'd be cool to restore that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so that's a question. So if you knew it was the Hoffa House or Hoffa Home, but just looking for a project to like kind of rehab and taking on something that has historical significance, those are two very different types of projects. You know, obviously you're taking a lot more time and putting some love into the project that maybe, or time that you wouldn't need to put in if you weren't trying to preserve some of these pieces. So how's that piece going? I know you said semi-retired, but I mean, you know, how's the time aspect? of it
Working
going?
harder than ever.
Yeah.
Well, because it is fun. I want to keep it moving. My goal,
Yeah.
I'm working hard because I want to get the outside looking really good before winter hits, and get like all new windows and, you know, the exterior looking good. Then in the wintertime, work on the inside.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a push to beat the weather, because
Yeah.
we have some concrete work to do outside. The tennis court will get repaved, probably within the month. They'll get repaved, and the street also we're going to repave.
Okay.
Not from all the way from
Right,
from
from-
Clarkson Road,
Yeah.
but,
That's a long way.
but there's a shared street with the neighbor next door.
Yeah.
And that's
So
Ray Court, right?
That's called Ray Court.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
probably about 300-foot stretch of
Yeah.
pavement. So
Yeah.
that way that'll really clean up the area and make it a little more pristine to what it was back in the day.
Yeah. Something I stumbled onto when I was doing research during that dig is when I drove down Allendale, which comes off of Clarkston, there's an area where you hit some speed bumps, and they're pretty severe speed bumps. And as I was doing my research, I found a free press or news article online that was published a day or so after Hoffa disappeared, and a reporter was asking neighbors what was Hoffa like as a neighbor, and they said, oh, he was great, he was awesome. As a matter of fact, when we complained about speeders, he had his guys come out and install speed bumps. And so those speed bumps on
Yeah.
Allendale were installed by Hoffa and
Wow.
his crew. So there's reminders of
Yeah.
Hoffa all over the place.
Yeah.
And there's another interesting story that Dawn, the daughter of the previous owner, shared, where her father was doing some work in one of the rooms, and a wallet fell out of the ceiling. And when he opened it up, it was full of crisp $100 bills
Wow.
and a prayer card.
Oh.
So his prayers were answered, I guess. But he picked it up and put it in his pocket and said, thanks, Jimmy. So it's fun hearing those kind of stories.
Yeah.
And in the basement, there was a jukebox and piano and TVs and a safe, and apparently a lot of that belonged to Hoffa. So,
Wow.
yeah. So what are your future plans with the home? So once, you said it might take about a year to do some the major work on it. What's the future plans for the home? You said you're not planning on living in it, so what do you hope to do with it?
a good question. We honestly don't know, but
We're debating a lot of things at this
Okay.
point. You know, we could sell it, we could rent it, we
Yeah.
could Airbnb it. It all
Yeah.
depends on the level of work we want to do, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's like the trend now, right? You could make it one of those themed Airbnbs and, you know, the different rooms and make the doors. Have you ever, I've seen them, maybe because now I'm such a new, like, but really into it Star Wars fan, but I get all the different, you know, things in my social media feed where you can Airbnb like a Star Wars like place. So you could,
Oh, I'm sure there'll
you
be
could do that
Hoffa
and like,
buffs
yeah,
that-
yeah, you could for sure.
You mentioned to me, though, you have to be careful that if you Airbnb it, you don't want residents taking home souvenirs. So that would be a bit of
Yeah.
a challenge.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to be not
yeah,
part of
the-
the house.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and any souvenirs will not be. Well, the inside house we're going to turn into 2025, you know,
Yeah.
standards. The outside will be what it looked like in 1975.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So if we did Airbnb it, it wouldn't have, you know, anything
Hoffa
Hoffa
items
related,
in it at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
except for the fact that it was the home.
Yeah.
Now, the archival photos and film that I saw, the home looked to be kind of a bright white at one time. Do you think you're going to go with white? Because right now it's kind of a beige brown color. Do you want to go that extreme and restore it to when it was
Yes.
white? Oh, that would
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was
Yeah, originally had white aluminum siding, so I'm going to replace it with 8-inch hardy board
Yeah.
and then paint it white. So again, the outside will look just like 1975.
Now,
as it
there's a
was.
part of the home that was an addition, and I reached out to Orion Township to see if they had any documents on the home and the ownership, and they sent me the permit, building permit request that Hoffa put in to put the addition on the house.
Wow.
And the coolest thing about that is it has his autograph on the bottom. It's signed by Jimmy Hoffa.
Wow.
So I told the township, don't shred those documents.
Yeah,
and
don't.
find it, preserve it, save it, donate it to a museum. But
Yeah.
and it's funny, he's listed as like the purchaser and the contractor. So I guess he paid himself to do the work.
I guess so. He must have been his own general contractor. So I'm curious, though, like, what was the addition for? Like, what part of the home, or what was the room?
So it's kind of that living
I'm
room.
assuming
area.
it's the kitchen and then maybe making the. It's hard to tell from the original picture. There were windows, but it might have been a 3-season room or something.
Right,
And
exactly.
then maybe he extended out to make it a full-time space because there is like a space heater against the wall.
Yeah.
On one of those walls, and probably the 2 dormers upstairs.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so it's probably the kitchen, enlarging the kitchen, the sun porch, and really making the upstairs livable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, when I saw photos of when you were tearing up the carpet and stuff, which breaks my heart because the carpeting is so beautiful. There's a different color
Is
in
it like
every
orange
room.
shag?
Oh, it's
Every
70s
70s
color.
Teal, orange,
Oh,
You
yeah,
name it.
yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
Brown's good.
But we salvaged some of the carpet and some of the knotty pine paneling. So that's
Yeah.
I donated a piece to the Historical Museum in Oxford. They're going to have that on display. And we found some pamphlets that Hoffa had printed up when he was campaigning for Teamsters president after he got out of prison. So we're donating that to the Orion Historical Society, the Oxford Museum, and things like that. So we
Nice.
want to preserve that history, and you guys are doing a great job of preserving it. I'm so relieved that they're not going to take a bulldozer to that building. So,
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's very happy not to be chained there, right?
yeah. Is it an obligation, you know, preserving history? What is it like to be saving and preserving history for future generations?
Well, I think it's important, especially to Lake Orion, because he was well known around here and I think loved by everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue because when I put together a little documentary leading up to the 50th anniversary, I had found out that there were several Lake Orion residents who knew Jimmy Hoffa, who had experiences with him. And so I invited anyone who wanted to talk about him to come into the studio, or I met him on location, and they shared their stories of with Jimmy Hoffa. So
Okay.
first I want to thank you two for coming down and spending time with us. Really great to have you, and you're practically neighbors right up the road. So
Yes.
That's right.
Yes,
thanks
we
for
are.
sharing the experience, and you can follow the progress in the home with, what's the name of the Facebook page? Hoffa House Renovation.
Renovations. Yep, and it's both on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to see the progress of the updates going on there, I check it almost daily. I really look forward to it. And so check that out, and we'll keep you posted on those updates. And